Hi writers and readers, this is Harule Stokes, and today we're talking about subtext. Subtext, what does that mean to me? When I hear the subtext or someone say subtext, my first thought is, what are you really saying? And here's an example of subtext. I don't want ice cream. I don't want any ice cream at all. Usually when I use subtext in my writing, what I'm trying to do is convey a characterization. I'm trying to tell the reader exactly who's speaking and what are their motivations, who they are, what are they less inclined to say outright. What they will say outright also has some context to who that person is. So if someone is lying or not being completely honest, they may say something that does not help them. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like I did with the ice cream example. Although I was saying I don't want ice cream, I was obviously nodding yes. Sometimes people do that in normal conversations. For example, you may ask someone, let's go to this restaurant. And they ask, what kind of food is it? And you say, Chinese. So their response then is, sure, I don't mind Chinese. Immediately, you know what they're really saying. They're saying, I don't really want Chinese, but I'll have Chinese with you, right? That to me is an example of subtext. It also shows that the person is actually trying to be nice and trying to be accommodating, but in truth, they're not being honest because they don't want Chinese. So when you're writing, you can show that just as well. And it actually is very effective, particularly when you want to do show, don't tell. You know what? Let's have some examples. To the computer. What I have is a scene from The Great Gatsby. As you can see, I have some items underlined. This is to bring out what I would consider to be the most clear examples of subtext. I've got a man in England who buys me clothes. He sends over a selection of things at the beginning of each season, spring and fall. He took out a pile of shirts and began throwing them one by one before us. Shirts of sheer linen and thick silk and fine flannel, which lost their folds as they fell and covered the table in many-colored disarray. While we admired, he brought more, and the soft, rich heap mounted higher. Shirts with stripes and scrolls and plaids and coral and apple green and lavender and faint orange with monograms and Indian blue. Suddenly, with a strained sound, Daisy bent her head into the shirts and began to cry stormily. It's a weird, stormily. I've never used that word. I'm going to have to think about it. They're such beautiful shirts, she sobbed, her voice muffled in the thick folds. It makes me sad because I've never seen such beautiful shirts before. Now, why am I saying this is examples of subtext? Well, the second one is the most clear, where she's saying, they're such beautiful shirts, but she's crying, and she's making it very clear. Well, the writer is making it very, very clear that it's not because of the shirts that she's crying. He's making it very clear that it's because of something else. This first line makes it very, very clear that who this person is that's talking, and what he sees and what he values. He took out a pile of shirts and began throwing them one by one before us. Now, normally people don't do that. So what is he saying? He's talking about a sense of frivolity at the person. It's not a big deal. This is nothing. It's nothing to me. Even though they are wonderful, great shirts, and they're very clearly expensive because he has a man in England who buys him clothes. He doesn't have to do the buying. There's subtext in this. The subtext is that he is clearly wealthy, and he's letting them know that. Why else would he throw it before them and let them see it? He's showing them his wealth. He's saying, look at me, I'm wealthy. And that wealth troubles Daisy, as you can see. There is something about this exorbitant wealth that bothers her. You see what I'm saying? So subtext isn't always, it's not clear and it's not clearly defined. No one is saying that, look at me, I'm super wealthy. And Daisy isn't explicitly saying why she's sobbing. But because of this disconcertion that they're bringing with the text, it's obvious that there's more going on here than what's simply being said or narrated by the narrator. There's more happening. And that more happening, that's an example of subtext. Now, as you can see, there are lots of examples of it, and lots of varying examples, and how you can really work the language to reflect what it is that you really want to say to the reader, and show as each person will respond very particularly with very choice words when they're trying to be kind, or they're trying to hide, or they're trying to kind of not fully tell you what's going on. Instead, they are, in a way, showing you, much like we do in our own writing. Let's get to work, guys. Let's make that subtext pop. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified of all future videos. All right? Peace.